I forgot to turn this thing on. Professional to the bone. When you get to my age, hey, you young kids, when you get to my age, look at the hair. I had a very hot soak this evening, and then the hair goes all wonky because, of course, I'm reading my book, and then I have to, because it's a hot soak. Oh, look at the gloss on top. Ooh. Eh. I'm almost 60, 60-year-old cred. Okay, I'm not. I'm a year and a half away from 60. Old age. But you're as young as you feel, and I haven't left 12. So I honestly, when I actually think about it, my first album was Crime of the Century, and I was 7 years old. Supertramp is still my favorite group of all time. Star Trek, I've been watching since I was 4. Star Trek's still my favorite show of all time. And Lego was around since my earliest memories. And of course, Lego is still here today. I like what I like. I haven't changed too many of my appreciation, shall we say, over the years. Now, I've come to like other things since I was like 12. But my core beliefs, I think, were pretty much ingrained when I was 12. Help people as much as I possibly can. Ingrained from my parents who were all like, save the community. Got my water this time because I know my friends ask, "Hey, Dave, make sure you got your water." Support the community, do what you can, help your neighbors as you can, blah, blah, blah. Help the little old lady across the street, whatever. I was a Boy Scout for far too long to worry about anything else. Those values were ingrained in me by the community I grew up in and the family I grew up in. So I really haven't changed much. I do, if we get into, not to talk about stuff again, if we get into some certain things, I know for a fact, I do know for a fact that there were certain family members that had some concerns, shall we say. Some concerns, because I did not put away the Lego when most other kids my age put away the Lego. I did not put away the Star Trek like other people. Dungeons and Dragons, hanging out in the computer lab for hours at a time, blah, blah, blah. It's just the geeky stuff. And I'll say that. I'm a geek, and I'm a proud card-carrying geek. Without any ambiguity, I'm definitely a geek. That these things that I appreciated, I was going to keep doing. And it didn't matter to me. And thankfully, I did not grow up in an environment overall where people were really adamant that I put away stuff that they didn't think I should be doing, like the Lego and like the Star Treks and all that stuff. But there were ruminations, shall we say. And I didn't bother. And because I liked it, and again, I've said this a million times, if I like something, and to me, as a rational human being and a person who appreciates logic and appreciates understanding, that if I am doing something that I like to do that makes me happy, which is this, and other things, and it's not causing harm to anybody else, it's not infringing on anybody else's rights, it's not bothering anybody else, it's not demeaning anybody else or degrading anybody else or anything like that. There's no maliciousness at all here, or no degradation at all here. There's no evilness here. There's no malcontentness here, from my consideration. Then I and that was irrational in my head every time somebody, whoever it was, and thankfully it was infrequent, somebody came to me and said, "Dave, you shouldn't be doing that because of childishness." And I thought in my head, "You're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. It is not childishness." And I still, to this day, say my appreciation of this hobby wasn't limited to the childish way of appreciating this hobby. Even when I was a child, there was the artistry and the mechanics and engineering and the thought processes and the building structures and architectures, blah, blah. I saw so many things in this hobby of ours when I was 6, 7, 10, 12, 18, that I've always appreciated. I literally always appreciated it on various levels, on various ideas, on various the computer stuff. Like as soon as the computer stuff, yellow RCX, that was again reinforced to me that this is not limited to childishness. And again, I've mentioned the other things. Then the second point is that everybody, I won't say everybody, but most people have hobbies. And some of those other hobbies can be construed as childishness, even the stock car racing and the car modifications and whatever. To me, a car is utility. A car is not a hobby. A car is utility. To me, a car is to get me from here to there and there to here. That's it. That's it. I've never, when I had my Prelude, I was a little bit of appreciation of the actual vehicle and made me feel bad. I'm driving my Honda. But overall, in my entire life, I've never had to want the desire to think the car is more than a utility, like a fork in your drawer or my power drill. I wasn't gonna chrome out my power drill. I mean, the drill is there to be used to drill stuff that I need drilled, and if it breaks, oh well, I'll go buy a new one. And so a vehicle for me has always, literally always been a utility to get me from here to there, and from there back to here, safely and comfortably and blah blah. But I've mentioned this also numerous times. That's my take on the vehicle. Other people's takes on the vehicle are, oh, this is the best thing ever, and I want to tinker with it. I want to do car shows with it. I want to soup it up. I want to gloss it up. I want to polish it with a diaper. Blah blah blah. I love Ferris Bueller. And I love that passion from those people. I wouldn't do it myself. There's not money on this planet enough to make me want to do that. There isn't. You cannot convince me that I should be doing that. Now, you can say, hey, Joe, you want to, my cousin Ricky, you want to do it? I'm gonna support that. I'm gonna appreciate that, because again, I love other people's passions about what they're passionate about. And it doesn't have to be what I'm passionate about. I feed off of, I appreciate, I will live to want to be around passionate people about whatever they're passionate about. There hasn't been too many times I've come across somebody who's absolutely passionate about something that I say, oh, I don't like this at all. Now, passionate is not obsession, because I've come across people who are obsessed with stuff, and I'll just take a step back, thank you. I don't like obsession on anything. I don't like passion to excess where, again, there's negative detriments to other people and even the person themselves, and infatuation and stuff like that, that makes me feel queasy, because that leads to harm, and so I avoid that. But passion, I'm there for you 100%. So so that's a synopsis of most people. For this, if you've been watching my channel for a million years, and I don't know how many videos I got, 1,500, 2,000, I don't care. But that's me in a nutshell. And if you're new here, I'll mention this. There has not been a single month, I won't say less than a month, but there hasn't been a single month in my entire life, my entire conscious life that I've been aware of, that I haven't at least had Lego in my hand, building or moving or sorting or whatever, in 58 years. Has not been a time in my conscious life that I haven't had Lego around me, and that I built something. So I never had a Dark Ages. I am one of the few that never literally ever had a Dark Ages. And I'm not using that as my claim to fame, because again, even though I've never had a Dark Ages, there are a million builders that are better than me. And again, this is not being self-deprecating or whatever else. The new style of building, and the new ways of building snots and all that other stuff, and knowing parts and blah blah, like being the Emmett at the end of the movie when he knew how all these parts work together. I haven't a clue for me, I don't want one. I like how I build. I like my style of building, and I'm stick to. And they get, oh, Dave, you should like expand your horizons, or put yourself to the test, or like do something harder. I know, not at this point in my life, and not really, because I have enough to do with what I want to do. I don't need to go looking for more things to do. If I get bored of Lego, and I say, oh, I'm bored of how I build, I'm going to try build something new, a new like. I don't know, whatever they're doing on Lego Masters, and understand this stuff, I might try it. But right now, I have a litany, a whole list of stuff that I have to, want to, and need to get done for what I want to do, which is my old school way of building, or which uses my old way of school building. But other than that, I'm happy. And think, as you can see, I don't seem to run out of stuff to do. I mean, you just look at my YouTube channel. I do not seem to run. Now, it might be repetitive to some. I've heard that complaint a little bit. Oh, Dave, you've been working on this for 17 videos. Oh well. Ask me if I care. Again, nobody's patronizing, maybe, but I don't have any patrons. So, I don't have any subscription. Well, I have people join my channel, but I don't have any paid subscriptions. I don't have any private channels that people can pay to see. I don't, and I don't want. I'm not remotely interested in doing that, because that implies, or kind of forces me to actually treat this as a job. I have to now work for that. I already get a paycheck. Maybe I'll retire soon, but I already have a paycheck that pays me enough to be down here and make Lego movies. So I'm not interested in changing my ways of doing things to appease others who have paid me now, because that, again, if you pay me, then there's an expectation. You might not say there is, but there's an expectation. When I get paid to go to work, I'm expected to do X, Y, and Z at work. If I get paid to do this, then I'm gonna have to do X, Y, and Z for this. Right now, I can just come and go as I please. I can not make a video for a month. I don't know when that's gonna happen. Probably soon. So I'm not interested. I don't want people to waste their money, because I know what I'm putting out here. A lot of videos that for me is fun. For everybody else, doesn't have to be. And so I don't want to be paid to do this, because again, I might have to script stuff and actually put some real effort into this, instead of just meandering with my tangents for hours at a time. So first things first, not even talk about this yet. We went to Lego dinner last night, and my good and dear friend Jeffy was there. Hi, Jeffy. And he dropped off 5 light blue mini figs, so Jeffy paid for them, but he paid our other friend of this channel, Paul. Hi, Paul. Thank you. Paul got these for us. So there is a light blue minifig torso. Now, Jeff right now is sourcing the hands, which is perfect. But in the end, these guys, there's no helmets. There's no light blue helmets yet. So as far as I know, or light blue tanks yet. Again, as far as I know. So these things will probably be inside the buildings in my next show, because they're light blue and they're cool. The other thing that Paul sent me is a black space helmet. Paul, you're far, far, far too good to me. You're literally far too good to me, because I know I had a black space guy. I think I mentioned it. I don't see him right now. I probably already put him in the layout inside one of my buildings. No, I do not see him. Oh, sorry, I do see him. The guy that I showed you in a video a while back. And here's my friend Paul, who sent me finished minifig. So put him back in the wall. And the thing is that I reconstituted a solar power transporter the other day, and the one fig I was missing was a black one, but that's already put in a bin. So I'm just gonna put him over right here in my wall. So that guy is now complete. I'm gonna stop talking about these pieces that I'm missing because my friends are far too good to me and they keep on sending me stuff. And I feel like, I honestly feel like Wayne and Garth, we're not worthy. I am not worthy for people to send me parts and pieces, but I will accept them with my humblest appreciation, and they will be used. I will not be selling any of these pieces because, of course, I'm a classic space fan, so I don't sell pieces. But that leads to the next tangent. During the cleanup, and it's not bad. It's been worse. I found all my little Ziplocs full of parts and pieces that I'm going to bring to Brickomania and to Bricks in the Six. Now, the other, they're all semi-sorted, and people don't want to buy a baggie of 1x2 modified plates with handles or whatever. I've been really seriously thinking about this because today I was sorting out my 2 multicolor bins over there that have all the alternate colors that are not the original 5 or 6 colors, because I was looking for brown parts for some mock that Sandy and I are making, and it's like those bins, I am honestly at the point now where I'm going to, because I don't want them in here, I'm going to start putting on my marketplace, $5 a pound or something like that, and then start selling it that way, because they just take up a lot of space. I in the near foreseeable future, I have enough of those alternate colors and parts already sorted out. I'm just tired of sorting, and those 2 bins have been there for like at least 4, 5, 6 years now, not even opened until today. So it's like, why are they sitting there? I mean, those are the big totes. Why are they sitting there, taking up shelf space in my Lego room when I have other stuff that I don't have space for? So I'm pontificating, ruminating, thinking about to see if I'm going to sell those and put them up on marketplace for $5 a pound. We will see. I'll be sorting it out again because I'm going to, there's orange in there and there's tan in there and there's other colors that I might be, but my tan collection is not sorted. My orange collection was mostly sorted from the MMMT theme that I built myself, which I might bring to a show someday. I did, we'll get into that in a second. So I might do some more sorting, but I just tired of that, and again, I found out the dark green, the dark red, and the dark brown, I can't tell apart unless there's really good light. And when I put them out on the dining room table, because again, there's 2 huge totes, and I only dump one, that the lighting in the living room is not good enough for me to tell them apart. I'd have to bring them down here, and I don't have the room down here to sort out 2 big totes. I have to do little cuts at a time. And then there's all other alternate colors, like, not the tan or the dark tan or whatever, but the off yellow and the off yellow and the off yellow, and it's like all those other the light blue and the light blue and the light sort of blue and whatever, and forget about the pinks. Forget about the pinks. And so it's like, I don't care. I'm to that point. I will never, I cannot, I mean, Sandy and I do want to do a micro layout at some point together. So I want some parts for that, and to have all those alternate colors for that would be a good idea, because the basic Lego colors are not conducive to a nice little micro, especially if you're doing landscaping, because whatever. But then I have to sort it all out. So anyway, that goes with that. So, but speaking of my MMMT, I'm gonna move this. Well, I was at the Lego store yesterday because, of course, we had Lego dinner. If you weren't there, sorry you missed it. We had a good time. There was 7 of us, if I remember correctly, and I paid Vlad the money for those wing plates, which is nice because I thought that was fantastic. And I was there, and I went to the pick-a-brick wall, and I got these half ones just because I like them. And of course, there's all these guys. And Jeff mentioned to me that, I mean, they're both sides. So I didn't bother trying to pick out. I just grabbed handfuls at a time. So I don't know if I have probably 100 of one and 20 of the other. I don't care. And I picked out these things. because I wanted these things because I think this is light blue. It's not trans clear because I think there's a blue tinge to them, but they're close to trans clear as possible. They might be classified as trans clear, but I see some blue in them. I like the little reflection I got in there. So, and then the circle that cost me a whole $3.99 or whatever it was at Valley Village. But that's where all the influencers use on their videos, so I have to have one. So I'm going to build more buildings for my MMMT. So I do want to expand that. I want to get the tote element down and start working on that, but I won't have time at all between now and August or through August. My calendar is booked solid, which is, what it is. And I don't mind that because it tells me I have friends and family that want to hang out with me. So, so I did get that at the Pick-a-Brick wall, 3 different parts and pieces. There were some other really unique parts there, but I just no. Just no. Cool colors. No. Colors that I don't have. No. Just no. I ain't interested. I would be interested again. Space, time, and money. That's what everything's coming down to. And right now, it's mostly space and time. Mostly time. I mean, the space, I've made some space in here, which is great. But it's time. Time and the energy to do it. So, c'est la vie. So as my last little point, 21 minutes into this, hey, here we go. So it was fun, I'll say that, but it's okay. So it is, so you can't mash it a lot. I did put a second delay. But what I wanted to do, as I mentioned, so it stops here. So now if you hold your hand over it, it'll just keep going. That's what I wanted. It'll keep going. So I think we're almost to 10 seconds now. And then there's still that normal delay when you take your hand away, which is another 10 seconds. That's the timer. So, and then it'll stop whenever it wants to stop, which would be now. And then you do it again, and then it'll go for another 10 seconds that way. So you have to hold your hand over the sensor or just cover the sensor completely. But doing it now, just of course, to stop it. So you have to do it and just hold your finger there when you actually swipe to start it. You can't just start it and then try to cover it because it'll stop. So overall, I've been trying to fake this thing out. There are some variability to the sensor, but overall, it is working a lot better than it was. I put the wait times in there so they don't impact, because I found out when I put the wait times in some other parts of the program, when I wiped my hand, it was during a wait time, and that just doesn't help because you want no wait time when it's doing your sweep. So you just like that, and you like that, and it just, but you have to wait, of course, a second. So it's every time. So it's not too shabby. So I like the program. I haven't even gotten to the point where I'm actually putting the spray goop on here to make it run smoother. I don't know when I'm going to get to that. I'm hoping before August 15th, but I have to go source it. I mean, here's the thing. I was at Home Depot today. I could have picked something up, but I didn't. But in the end, it's running. The platform, I worked on the platform a lot. I actually rebuilt it completely. Wait for this thing to stop. Pop that off. The platform itself is one plate shorter. It is brick, plate, brick now in there, and you can see it in the back. Brick, plate, brick. I like it that way. It just makes me, the bottom is meh, but nobody sees that. The motor will not pop off now, which is what I wanted, because of the force, the torque on it, sometimes it pop off. Everything's seeable and you can see everything. This part still comes off pretty hard, more difficult, but I still have access to replace the crown gears in here. But I have to remember to bring them. So I was actually trying to figure out how I'm going to put a little bit of the storage area. I can put underneath here a little bit of a storage area to keep those pieces in. I could put it right, well, I guess right here. Maybe I'll do that. But just because I want to be able to, replace because those little guys right there, one of those two usually breaks. That's the ones that I've broken before. And that's because I am turning however many gears that is. So how many axles are going through a lot of brick there, a lot of plates, that it just gets gummed up and it's tougher, more torque for this thing to spin. And of course the gearing down, right? So the 24 tooth gears are pretty hardy, and these are the new ones. So, and then the 8 tooth gears, I've sheared a few over in the past in my robot building days. But out of all these gears, the weakest ones are going to be the 16 tooth gears in here. And of course, this is where all the force is, because this is the one that wants to not turn, because that's where that's connected to all those gears. So that little gear right there has all the worst part of all the work. And so if it can't turn the top, that gear is one that actually just breaks in half. And I've had 3 or 4 now across the years that I've had this thing running. And I don't feel like changing it to make it using bigger gears or better gears, or quote unquote better gears, because then I'm gonna have to change the entire platform and make it bigger. Because any gear that I'm gonna use, let me get up. Because technically I could use these gears and they won't break at all. They're pretty solid. But then I have to make that whole enclosure twice as big, and I don't want to do that because so the 16 tooth crown gears, it is until they break, and I have a bin full up there, so oh well. So overall, it hasn't been bad. As I said, I've broken 3 or 4, and this thing's been running for years now. I just love doing that when it's all geared down. So that is, I'm gonna say that is done. Oh, and the last thing I'm gonna talk about, because I do have one more thing to talk about, I'm gonna turn this off. When we were at the store yesterday, I picked up the Wednesday and her roommate. I can't remember her roommate's name. It's been a while since I watched the show. I loved Wednesday. I mean, I've always loved the Addams Family, and this is coming from me, who avoids the macabre a lot. Halloween's my least favorite thing ever. Not when I was a kid because of the candy and stuff and the costumes, but just as growing up and seeing stupid movies and blah blah. I just got Halloween is not nice to me. Not one of my favorite things. I told Josh this because he went through this stage at 6 or 7 where he loved jump scares. He absolutely loved jump scares, and I can't stand them. Like, my heart doesn't come down for hours. I don't like being scared. I don't like seeing scary movies. I don't mind action flicks, and I don't mind suspenseful flicks, but scary for the sake of being scared is one of my least favorite emotions, period. And jump scares, just I'm like a jack in a box. Like, I'm so tense waiting for it, and then and then my whole, I mean, a lot of people find that feeling to be fantastic, and I have the exact opposite reaction to it. Like, and of course my mind being as imaginative as my parents used to say, and active as it is, I can't sleep. I cannot sleep. I mentioned that when I watched Nightmare on Elm Street, 1980, whatever, Freddy Krueger at my friend's place on this VCR. I didn't sleep for a week. Seriously, to this, I'm not exaggerating. I did not sleep for a week. Could not sleep. I was going through school, Just a zombie, second or third day. The first time I remember falling asleep after that, watching that movie at my friend's place in his basement, as we were back there the next week in his basement, and we watched Ghostbusters, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. So, and yet, it's a different kind of scary, Ghostbusters, because it's a comedy, it's scary. I fell asleep halfway through Ghostbusters because I was my comfort zone. I've seen it a million times and I was comfortable. So I have athletes zonked on the couch. And I remember this to this day, like I was 14 or whatever it was, and I couldn't sleep. So I have avoided overall scary for the sake of being scary movies. Scream, nope, didn't watch it. I Know What You Did Last Summer, nope, didn't watch it. Watched Final Destination, and it's just, I shouldn't have, and I said I shouldn't have, and I get how dorky and dumb and bad it is, and that's the only redeeming factor that I had, that it didn't bother me as much as other movies. But I hate death for the sake of entertainment. Like, I love action flicks. I adore action flicks. I adore thrillers. I adore not adore. I appreciate characters' death if there's contributing to the story. Spock's death, obviously, one of the most moving death experiences in a movie theater I've ever had for a fictional show. But even like if you go back to one of my favorite movies of all time, Dance with Wolves, and there's some death and very, very grotesque deaths in that movie. But it was part of the show, as part of the historical, fictional record of the time, and so it didn't bother me where I was losing sleep over that, because I understood in context what that death was in that movie. Titanic, harsh. Everybody's dead, like it's sinking and stuff like that. And so I it's not the death itself. It's the I won't say immorality. That's not the word I'm looking for. It's the not senseless death either, because I've seen movies where death, like Tasha Yar's death, was senseless, straight up was senseless, and she wanted off the show, and to this day, that episode it wasn't a bad episode. It was a solid episode, but Tasha died needlessly. It was a senseless death. They even said so in the show, but that's how they wrote her off, and yet there was and yet they used that death as repercussions, which was fantastic as the series went on, where she came back as her daughter, which is chef's kiss. Like, oh my goodness. So it's just the horror scary movies. And again, I never liked zombie movies. Zombie movies that I will avoid like anything, except I love Shaun of the Dead, but that's a comedy. I didn't mind World War Z with Brad Pitt. I haven't watched a single episode of Walking Dead. Not remotely interested. I am not remotely interested in that at all. There's not money on this planet. If somebody came up to me and said, "Dave, you watched the entire series of The Walking Dead, which has been on for 1,000,000 years now, and we'll pay you $1 million," I would be, because I know I won't sleep. I know I will not sleep. I will be uncomfortable. I'll be mean. I'll be sullen and whatever. I know who I'm going to be after watching that series. I know who I'm going to be. It's just going to be bleh, and it's going to make me want to vomit. That's the kind of I have a visceral reaction to this stuff, and I don't know where it comes from. I think it's like, I don't know, my childhood, where everything was, good and decent and meaningful and all that stuff, and you didn't go out of your way to be scary or deliberately. I find it malfeasance. As for me, and your mother's, and I know a lot of people love being scared, and they go, anytime you make a scary movie, they go see it, And I know I had some friends like that, and they would go, "Hey, are you going to see a scary movie?" No, I'm not. So that's just me. And as I say, I cannot stand jump scares. And Josh went through this phase where that's what he wanted to do all the time. So I finally said, Josh, no, you can't. No, your dad is just too old for it. So, um, but anyway, going back to this. So I loved the Addams Family growing up. I loved the Addams Family growing up. I loved the Munsters, but those were comedies. And the Addams Family, the one I was a kid, was a comedy with John Austin and all the other people. For crying out loud, I forgot his name. Oh, that's gonna bother me now. Lurch, the actor, because he was also in Star Trek as Ruck. And a lot of other shows. The guy was great. The guy had a career for being like 7 foot taller, however tall he was. But I loved the original Addams Family. I loved the comic books. I read the comic books. And again, I didn't find it to be macabre. I loved Elvira. Sorry, Wolfman Jack. So there's nuance here. But I love the Addams Family, and then I loved the movies with Angelica Houston and Christopher Lloyd playing Uncle Fester, and I thought those were brilliant movies, and I enjoyed those movies because they were fun, just like Ghostbusters fun, except a little more edgy when it comes to the macabre. Because Ghostbusters is not. And then when they had Wednesday, 2 years ago, absolutely adored it. I saw it from the pilot, and I said this, and so I am a mystery, but I loved Wednesday Addams. I loved the series. I watched every episode, and seeing Catherine Zeta-Jones play Morticia, fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And I ate up every episode, and I loved the characters, and I loved Wednesday, and I loved her roommate, and I can't remember her name now. And so the Lego store on Friday had these at the discount. Woohoo! so I bought them, and I'm glad I built them. So I'm good to go because I heard season 2 or something's coming out soon, and so I went and bought these things on purpose. so that's everything in a nutshell. 36 minutes, long enough. So I don't think there's anything else down here for me to say. I honestly, sincerely hope everybody out there is doing well. And I know that these are pretty interesting times. I did not upload my rant from the other day because I found that it was a little too much rant and not enough whatever, and I need more happiness in my world. So my life is great. Sandy's awesome. Josh is beautiful. My friends are just the most fantastic people on the planet. My hobby is just inspiring me to do more and more. Yet we look past our borders, and it's just a constant depression. And so I have been, for me, trying to not watch the news, and that's kind of sad. And as for me, I've been trying to find the joy for the little tiniest things. And we saw a snake yesterday in front of our house. It's just a little bit odd, as the garage door. That was a little bit odd. And so, but we took some pictures, let the snake go by. It wasn't a milk snake, and it wasn't a garter snake. It was some other fox snake. I'd never even heard of a fox snake before, but our friend, my friend Alish, who I used to babysit when she was a little kid, and now is married with her kids, and she's 40 now. Just how far time flies. But she texted back and said, "This is a fox snake." And I'm going, well, I lived here my entire life. I had no idea. So, but we looked it up. It looks like a fox snake. So that was cool. And so Sandy and I started talking about what we have seen since living here for the last 21 years. We used to have a possum living under our deck. Kind of miss that possum. Possum was awesome. Awesome possum. And they only came out at night because, of course, they're nocturnal. So we would be on the back deck and we hear it out there and getting rid of whatever it's getting rid of. So we had that. a possum on our deck. We had a raccoon, a baby raccoon, that we brought into the house because it was either abandoned or mom and dad took an extended leave of absence. And we took care of it for a few days and we put it back outside um, overnight, and it would be there the next day until one day it wasn't. Um, and so we hoped that it went off with other raccoons. So it was, we call him Baby Bandit. We had some wonderful bitters before Josh showed up. So we've had raccoons here. We've had deer. Fantastic in the wintertime. The deer is right up on our deck. We feed the deer basically out of our hands. This is just wonderful. The deer are, and there's a whole family of them. I think the max we had 7, 8 in our backyard. And we're in the middle of Hamilton. Like, we're in the middle of the big city of Hamilton. Where, like, I get my friend who lives, he's got 94 acres out there, way out there, that he gets here all the time. He actually has hunters. So that borrow his property every so often, but he has lots of deer out there. But here in the middle of Hamilton, the fact that I have deer from the ravine is just fantastic. And then Sandy and I, a couple years back, we were sitting on the back deck and we just couldn't believe our eyes because we're looking down in the ravine and 2 bald eagles, hugely, massively massive bald eagles, were flying below us in the valley. I'm going, holy moly, those, and you could hear the wind coming off the wings. Like, holy moly, that was awesome. And we know there's beavers down in the creek below the hill. But I've never seen a snake. Never seen a snake. So saw a snake. The sad part, it happened today, and it happens less often than it used to, but it happened today. So we did fix the wall between the kitchen and the garage. That wall was built by a bunch of amateurs. It was just disgusting. And it was crap, and it was Swiss cheese, and the mice were getting in the house. So when I first moved in 22 years ago, I realized there's a mice problem in the house. So I thought at that time, there's the Freon pipe that goes to the air conditioner. And when I moved in, I didn't realize until I looked at it, there was no parging around the actual pipe coming out of the house. And so you could actually just shine a flashlight through there and light up this room because it was right there. Like at least a half an inch all the way around the pipe that came out, that they didn't even bother trying to whatever. So I stuffed a whole bunch of steel wool in there around the pipe, and then I parged it over, and then even with the parging, I went out and got that little steel mesh, about 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch squares mesh, and I cut it around the pipe and I bolted it to the wall, like hammer drilled it to the wall, and I parged over that too, so nobody's getting in the house. No mice is getting in the house around that pipe, which is going to be fun because we have to replace the air conditioner at some point, probably soon. So we're gonna have to. But anyway, and so for the longest time, there's no mouse problems. There was 0 mouse problems in this house for the longest time that we've noticed, until last year or 2 years ago. All of a sudden, we started finding mice droppings in the house, and it's like underneath the sink and blah blah blah. So we cleaned every night. We cleaned the countertop every night. Blah blah. We set up mouse traps, and the mouse traps would occasionally catch something, which was disgusting. But mice traps too. But the mice started getting smart, and I don't know how they got smart, but we were putting peanut butter in the mouse traps, and for the longest time, yes, they would catch them, but then they stopped, and so we started putting those sticky sheets out, and sticky sheets should be probably outlawed, because sticky sheets do not kill the mouse, but the mouse should basically is dreaming of being dead, because it gets all stuck on the sheet. And they struggle against it, and they get more stuck. So there's like the furs. It's just not nice. And so I fixed the wall from the kitchen to the garage, and the mice stopped coming in the house. We thought, because I finished that. Was it this year or last year? I think it was last year. I can't remember when I did it. But that's how the mice were getting them before. Again, alternatively from the back pipe. So I fixed that, and we haven't had any mouse problems in the house. I was just in the garage tonight, getting whatever, and I'm stepping back, and I heard this little squeak, and it's underneath the step. I built when I put the door into the garage from the hallway, because the house didn't have it originally, but one of my first renos is so you didn't have to go outside to get into the garage. You can just put a doorway in the hallway to go into the garage. But the doorway from the hallway, there's about a foot down to the garage. So it's a pretty big step. So I built a wooden step years ago, literally years ago. And it's just from scrap lumber I had laying around the house. And so it is 6 inches tall. And I stapled a piece of carpet to it. So you can step into it and you don't have to step on the concrete floor or the wood. There's carpet on it. But it's just there. It's not bolted to the floor. You can take it out and sweep the floor, right? So years ago when we were having these mice problems, we were putting these little sticky traps everywhere, these sticky sheets, everywhere in the house, in the basement, and the main floor, underneath cabinets, wherever we are, and it was catching them. It was catching lots and lots of mice. But I obviously completely forgot about the one that was underneath the step in the garage. So I'm walking into the house, and all of a sudden, I hear this little squeak, squeak, squeak. And it's been a while, but I knew exactly what it was. And I'm going, this is odd. Like, we haven't had a mouse problem. And I pull out the thing, and the poor thing is on top of a little sticky sheet. And it's a little tiny mouse. It's like, son of a pup. And you can't take it off. Like, you can't take it off. Like, if you ever put your hand on one of those things, you're peeling, and it doesn't come off. So I grew up in the country, and my uncle would always have a problem with rodents and vermin and whatever else, and he would teach them how to swim, especially skunks, and raccoons. So he would put out the traps, the steel traps, and because he had a farm to run, and he can't afford to have raccoons and skunks and whatever else getting in, rats and getting into his stuff. So he didn't bother doing it, taking it out to the escarpment, letting him go, because they're going to come back to the field. So he taught them how to swim. He'd always have a 45-gallon drum somewhere in the property from the rainwater, and he'd teach them how to swim. So this is what I grew up with. And now, thankfully, it didn't happen all the time, but every once in a while. And he got sprayed once, so from a skunk before he dropped the skunk into the rain barrel. You do what you have to do. You can, I will stop you. I am pro nature. I am pro as much as possible. But when they encroach on us and they impact our livelihoods, no, I'm sorry, it doesn't matter. And again, there's nuance there. Anyway, so the mouse in the garage, and I'm the guy who can't. No, I can't do it. It's not in me to. So I fill up a barrel, a little bucket in the garage. I don't know if it's the most humane thing I could have done. I literally have no idea. It's just the way I was brought up, and the poorest thing. But it is out of its misery now, and I'm hoping I have no more sticky traps in the garage, because I don't need them. They're not getting in the house anymore. I fixed the wall. If they start getting back in the house, and I do, Sandy and I spent a lot of time checking out like everything where they could potentially be coming into the house, and we patching everything up so they can't get in the house. They can be in the garage all they want. It doesn't matter to me. Our birdseed's not in the garage. It's in a galvanized garbage can in the backyard, mini garbage can, so they can't get in there. But obviously this little mouse was in our house or in our garage, and it got stuck on that sticky paper. And it's amazing to me how long sticky paper lasts, because I put that thing out there over a year ago, and it was still as tacky today as it was when I put it out there a year ago. And there was spiders on it, and there was like all these other little potato bugs and stuff like that. And now this mouse, and I felt terrible. And this is why I don't do this stuff. I could not be an exterminator. I could not be a bug remover kind of person. I will get rid of spiders in the house, because Sandy doesn't like spiders in the house. I will get rid of all the spiders in the house. But if there's a spider outside next to our front door, leave them alone, because they like building their little webs underneath their porch light, which we leave on 24/7, and they love that, and I love them for it. So yeah, I keep the critters down, and so I am pro bug when they're not in the house. I am pro rodent when they're not in the house. I am pro doing what you can when they're not in the house. And yet today happened, and it upset me today. I did feel bad because, again, sensitive kid, as my dad always said, very sensitive, and yet I also have to be the dad, the husband, to take care of this because that's what I do. So I took care of it, and it's not a big thing, but it is what had to happen today, and it's thinking about it. So, but that's it. So I get another 10 minutes out of it. That's it. That's all. Oh yeah, and again, I really hope everybody out there is doing well. I'm okay. I'm not watching news as much as I should, but that's okay for me because there's not a thing one I can do about it. That's a quote from MASH, one of my favorite episodes. Not thing one I can do about it. So I'm not. I'm just going to keep on bringing some sunshine in people's lives. I'm going to try and illuminate the happiness and do what I can here to, keep on keeping on. So that's it. That's all. Everybody out there, stay safe, take care, and I'll talk to you soon.